District Media is a network of personal finance blogs. So we actually have about 34 personal finance websites and blogs across the portfolio. Our bottom line is really to reach as many people as possible and give them quality personal finance advice and information, which is hard to come by a lot of the times. So finding somebody that you can truly trust with that kind of information and advice.
What's going on with this escalating rise of cost of gas and heating oil and electricity? What should we as consumers expect?
Things are definitely going to go up. I've already started getting notices from my electric company and the gas company saying that, rates are going to be rising. The best thing you can do is make plans for it in your budget. So find places where you can cut and maybe put aside extra money for those utilities. There are also a ton of local kind of programs and stuff that can help. So kind of tap into your local government, see what kind of options there are. There may be like payment assistance. Some people will be able to get their utilities for free even. Others will give you a discounted rate or at least give you some kind of payment option. So if you're really struggling because the rates are going to go up, there are some additional options.
Amanda, do you think it's good timing now to think about switching providers? Maybe shop around the market and see if you are paying too much. Maybe you kind of look around and see maybe there is a different provider out there. Or do you think it's not a good time, on the contrary?
I do think it is probably a good time to look around if you have options. I know in my area, we pretty much only have one option for electric, one option for water, one option for gas. So I don't have a lot of options where that's concerned, but things like internet, your phone bill, cell phone provider, and all things like that, you can start to shop around so that you can cut back on those things and have the money, to pay to keep your heat on this winter.
What do you think about maybe stocking up for future? The reason I'm asking this question is because let's take an example of propane and other gas supply in rural areas, remote areas of the country. They are sort of in a similar situation to yours because they have only one provider. They don't have anywhere else to go. And sometimes, these providers, they don't answer their phones. You go to the offices, they are not there. And yet, you are panicking because of all this crisis and you really don't know what to do. So maybe one of the options is to stock up.
If you're using things like propane tanks and things like that to keep your house warm over the winter, definitely start to stock up, especially now when the prices haven't really started to rise too much yet. They're going to continue to go up. So stocking up now, if you have the extra money, picking up an extra tank or however, you can, is definitely a good idea.
Amanda, what is your advice on how to manage utility bills?
So I write everything down in a little calendar as far as our bills go to help us manage kind of where money needs to go. That's a little traditional on my part. Not a lot of people write out their bills anymore. There's plenty of apps and budgeting apps and things that can help you stay on top of when they're due. Most of them are due monthly. There are some utility bills, I know up north where my family lives, they have to pay people to come pick up their garbage, and that's a quarterly bill. So if you have quarterly bills, mark those down and schedule them accordingly, put it in your budget to have that money to pay for it. Bottom line really is budget, budget, budget. But if you can, or if you have to delay a bill, a lot of the time utilities companies will work with you. Sometimes, I know my electric company will let me stack, I think, 3 months before they're, knocking down my door ready to cut off my electric bill. Same thing with the water and the gas. So knowing kind of where you are with the utility companies and knowing, how far you can go before they cut you off is key too. Especially if you're trying to, you're really going paycheck to paycheck. Always understandable if you need a little bit of money moved around. Knowing when you can put those off and when you can't is really key. So talk to your utility providers, see what your options are. They're almost always willing to work with you if you're willing to pay some money.
Maybe you can name any saving programs that you know of that certain utility companies give to consumers. Should consumers apply to those programs and how they benefit consumers?
Sure. So a lot of the time they're locally run. So you'll have to go, to your local government office, or sometimes it'll be like around here we have like a crisis assistance ministry where you can apply for help through, them for your utility bills or anything like that. There are also federal programs right now that will help you with things like pay for your internet and your phone bill and things like that. Since so many people had to go, to telecommuting recently and didn't necessarily have the means to pay for that at-home internet and phone bill yet, there are a lot of federal programs for that too, which has become a utility over time. Now internet has. So really looking around for like local charities, government agencies, and things like that are key, and then checking into federal programs as well.
What's your advice on what should people keep in mind when they're dealing with utility companies and providers? Number one, any recommendations on how to communicate with them in the most beneficial way to get the answers that you want? And number two, if you are aware of any scams, maybe with the utility/consumer business.
And one of the biggest things I can say is just be patient. A lot of the time, people still aren't returning back to work. So a lot of the time they're still short staffed answering these phones. They may be, one of very few people able to help you, and you want them to help you. So be kind and be patient if you really want them to help you. If you have a problem and it's upsetting, obviously. Sometimes people, it can be upsetting when you have to call and maybe your power got shut off and you paid the bill or something like that. Just stay as calm as possible and explain the situation, and they will try to help you as best as they can. As far as scams go, there always are some. There are a few things to keep in mind. You shouldn't ever give any seriously important information over the phone. Don't give anybody your social security number or any password over the phone. Generally, they won't be asking for that. The most they'll ask you for is your account information for the utility itself. So, your electric account number, your gas account number, whatever. But don't give any other important information over the phone.
Now, let's switch the topic just a tiny little bit from talking about utilities and utility bills to another, let's say, area of expenditure that kind of hurts us rather often as consumers. Groceries. What are the best ways to manage grocery spending? Is it possible to cut a grocery budget without hurting our daily habits?
Definitely. So groceries are probably the easiest way to save money. Everybody has to eat, but you don't have to spend a lot of money doing it. I think a lot of people get caught up eating out. They get caught up with those kind of really quick meals that maybe cost a bit more because you didn't have to cook it, stuff like that. So number one, Aldi is popping up all over the place. They're a super cheap place to get groceries. I was able to feed me and my husband for about $40 a week shopping at Aldi. So look at all of the places around you that, are available and find where the cheapest place to shop is going to be. For us, it's Aldi for sure. We go to Costco for some things like high use items, but Aldi is definitely the cheapest option for almost everything. And then you can also coupon. So there are a few places around us that allow us to stack coupons. So we'll be able to get things for free or, a quarter or whatever. So looking at coupons, don't just throw out the ones that come in the mail. Look at them and see which ones you're actually able to use. The local grocery store here sends us personalized coupons based on what we've bought there in the past. So this month I got a free half gallon of milk, free butter and a few other free things just because I shop there regularly. They know what I buy, so they send me coupons. So couponing and really just looking around and finding the cheapest place, shopping there, and trying to stick to your budget. Meal planning is a huge thing too for our family. Personal finance is personal, so don't compare what you're going through to your friend, your neighbor, your family. Try to figure out what's going to work best for you and do that. Nobody can tell you exactly how you should handle your finances. Second thing is you have got to have a budget. You have to budget for your utilities. You have to budget for your rent. You have to budget for your groceries and stick to it. There are a lot of great tools out there that will help you budget. I know I just write mine down in a calendar and spreadsheet stuff, which is pretty traditional, but there is tons of apps out there like Mint and You Need a Budget and other apps like that can help you stay on top of things. There are even ones specific to groceries. There are certain apps that will help you look for, discounts on certain things, possibly even utilities. So finding some apps to help are always great if, you're a tech-minded person. But keeping things personal, finding what works for you, setting a budget for yourself. All of those things will really help you stay on top of things and, survive the winter, stay warm.